Hello and welcome back, guys, to another video. This video is again for all MBA aspirants as well as SRCC GBO aspirants. I have two of the SRCC GBO alums with me. I have Shilpi Yadav as well as Akash with me today evening. I would like Akash and Shilpi to introduce themselves first, and then I can start asking them questions so that it helps you. And make sure you watch this video till the end and share this video with your fellow aspirants in your preparation groups so that it helps everyone else as well. Akash, if you could start with your introduction.
Thanks, Nikhil, for having me on your show today. Yep, so my name is Akash Golab. I'm a 2019 pass out GBO batch, and after passing out from GBO, I started my work with Amazon. I was campus placed. I worked in Amazon for 3 years as a financial analyst. I was an account manager. I was handling some of the key vendors based in the US and China. I'll not get deeper into the work profile and all, but yeah. So after that, after 3 years, I left Amazon, and I'm right now working in Thyrocare Technologies, which is a diagnostics company, typically based in India and Bangladesh. And I'm working here as a program manager within the strategy team in the CEO's office for the last 6 months now.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for this good time. It was actually my one of the checklists to be here. Thank you so much to do that. About me, I am Shilpi Yadav, as you know, and I am GBO 2020 pass out. And as Akash was my senior in Amazon too. I was also campus placed as a operations manager there. So started my journey as a team manager and then eventually got an opportunity to be an IC into program management, handling the employee experience space. So right now I am handling the employee experience for a good large org of 1200 plus HC. So you can say it's an interesting thing. So that's all about me.
Okay, that's great. I mean, trust me, these two people who I have here today are full of knowledge and full of good insights. So I'll straight away start with the question that I get the most. Especially that people or aspirants want to ask from the alum or the current student is, what is the relevance of global business operations as a course in the industry? What are the applications that you've found till date now that you've, worked for almost 3, 4, 5 years?
All right. So I would say that GBO in the industry, it's very, very much relevant in terms of how the curriculum is shaped up and how the things are, all about from day one till my day last. So I'm applying multiple things that I learned while my journey in GBO. So I'll keep my answer very brief and very, to the point, and but as well as talking about two major things. Number one, my experience. So I clearly remember there were multiple subjects like the international business or global marketing vis-a-vis the regional marketing, where I clearly remember it was all case study based, which we directly apply on the job right now. There were few tools I clearly remember we used to study, which are we are applying in regular day-to-day projects here in Amazon as well. So I would say there is a very much relevance. And if I talk about the GBO curriculum and the GBO journey, GBO has its, it's a way, or you can say the agility to maneuver as per the industry expectations and the requirements. This was my experience. Second thing, which I am very much, since I am also very much connected to the junior batches which are coming right now in GBO, and I'm getting to know there are multiple good courses that have been recently added in the last 2 years, and I'm being very impressed by which how we are growing along with industry. Two or three courses I would want to add up here. There are courses into data analytics, managerial communication, product development and management. I mean, these courses are in cut to cut with all the big B schools or big brands. So I would say it is very much relevant in the industry.
Yes, I think in the last video we posted, one of the SRCC GBO toppers this year, told me that they had 1 month, even before they started the GBO course, they had 1 month of analytics course, right? Which are things
Yeah,
like those are very
yeah,
relevant for the recruiters right now, right? So
yeah.
probably I think that is one of the best things that I have heard as well. But yes, Akash, go ahead if you want to add on something to this.
Yeah, Nikhil, sure. I'll just add on to what Shruti rightly said. So when you talk about relevance, the first thing that comes to my mind is, am I really creating an impact on the society after passing out from an institution? Because everywhere you go, the only thing that they look at is what is it that you bring to the table. Uh, so when I try to associate my learnings from GBO versus what industry really wants, I think I'm almost there. I think the industry appreciates and the industry is keen to know what I'm really bringing to the table. And obviously, thanks to some of the great faculty members also that we had, because the kind of inputs that they gave, not just from the books or the subjects that we learned, but also out of those subjects, what are the things that we really need to look at. Things are very different there. So I think I was able to use some of my learnings in my role. My first role, obviously, while my during my tenure at Amazon. Uh, just to give a very simple example, we all studied quantitative techniques, right? There was statistics and all stuff there. We usually think, what I'm really going to do about these numbers or these z score or e square or whatever, these hypotheses and stuff. But trust me, when you actually get into the industry, these are actually the methods. These are some of the business models that you actually use in order to identify, do your analysis, and come to final conclusions. So yeah, I think the course is pretty much relevant. It is at par with what industry wants. It is at par with what your role, basically your job role, really demands, and it helps you become a complete professional, is what I can say. So even if, let's say, you don't know certain things, when you get into an industry or a company, you really dabble a bit, but that doesn't stop you from excelling into it. Maybe you take some time, but the things that you've studied, you've learned, that really helps.
Okay, that's great. I think this is one part where how is the course relevant or how the course fits in the bigger picture. And I think the second part to it is that probably I think since this is a very student driven course, or the students take too many initiatives in a course like GBO. I would want to ask from the aspirants end that what should students do during those 2 years, to have an edge right from day one. I see two types of students. One are pretty focused on what courses should they do or what internships or life projects should they take, and then the other half is still figuring out on what to do during those 2 years. So, any suggestions on what one should do during the course of 2 years to just gain an edge over the others in the industry?
So Nikhil, there are maybe three basic points that I would like to touch upon. The first is know your subjects very well, whatever that you're studying. Do not take any subject lightly, that this is not an area of my concern. I'm not interested into this field, like, let's say, finance or whatever, HR. Because as a management graduate, you are bound to have flavors of all these subjects. Number one, right? So I will emphasize this, very hardly, that know your subjects, learn everything that you can, because that's your primary foundation when you start with a management program. So that's a foundation. So make your foundation very strong. Number two is that, I mean, fine, we all know that when you pursue an MBA, you're bound to do a lot of projects, XYZ, get in touch with organizations, talk to your industry experts and do projects. But try to understand, why do I need to do that project, right? While you're doing a course, while you're pursuing a course, these subjects or these topics are directly linked to what is performed in the industry, right? If somebody is saying, okay, I'm going to teach you how to calculate, let's say, my sales projections, for example. So that's, if you get a project to do that, try and understand why do you want to do that, because it has a relevance outside. A lot of people really do it for the sake of certificates, for the sake of CVs, for the sake of कि मेरा last में placement अच्छा हो जाए. So the second point is going to be that when you're doing something, a project, for example, ask why to yourself. Okay. And so it's okay even if you don't do a project. Like, I know it's a little controversial, but if it makes sense to you, only then pursue it. Because tomorrow, if you do it and then somebody asks you, "Acha, isme kya kiya?" then if you're not able to answer it, you're screwed. I mean, simple. So the third point that I was trying to make here is that try to socialize a lot. Now, when I say socializing, it actually means that trying to socialize with all your other MBA colleagues outside. Now, what are the platforms and how do you do that? Is by participating in a lot of stuff, right? Maybe it can be a case study, it can be a debate, it can be any event, any random event, right? A lot of colleges do a lot of events, and there are multiple websites. I'm sure you guys must have already spoken a lot in your last videos. So try and connect to these people, because what you learn from these people is really going to take you long. is what I believe. Get a lot of perspective, because when you are in a particular, let's say, an institution in a college, it is only, there are certain limitations, the kind of people that you meet inside your college. But when you go outside, you get a lot of perspective. So I would really suggest these three very basic things to be done while you are actually pursuing your own.
So, as the question put up by Nikhil, to have an edge from your peers as well as the people from other B schools, I have again few pointers. And adding to Akash's last point, that is going into different competitions to socialize and network. It is also important to organize the events, and GBO especially and the B schools, they give you the opportunity to do that. When you organize the events or the competitions, you get an edge, not just in terms of your CV building or just to write on a paper, but a confidence that you gain up from it, that you will be directly applying in your job, in your interviews, or any kind of thing that you are, pursuing after your course. Coming to the second question, I would say, since Nikhil emphasized on two set of people, those who want to pursue courses or do, specific this or that thing, and the other set, they don't know what to do, right? So I will go ahead with catering to those. Number one would be the case studies. There is the one thing where you will have an edge from the people from IIMs or other B schools, that will be when you use the internet right. There are multiple Harvard case studies. There are multiple videos of consulting or product that are free of cost on internet. Go ahead and spend your weekends there. So it will be definitely an edge for you to, solve the guesstimates, the case studies, or using the HR or marketing case studies like that. Obviously, the curriculum will be helping you to do that. But again, to have an edge, you need to be above the bar. The third and the most important thing, which I personally felt, which is it will definitely give you a clear edge, which people, that they don't take it for, genuinely or reasonably. It's a strong hold on tools like SQL, Excel, data visualization like Power BI, Tableau. I mean, I would say that I have learned it after getting into the job, right? So, from my own experience, I am telling all the aspirants that spend your time during your MBA to just have some projects, like some basic 2 3 projects on all these tools, so that you have an upper hand when you get into the industry.
I'll
Okay.
just add something, Nikhil. I think Shilpi made a very impactful point here. Use internet right. So, these three words itself says a lot. At times, we are so driven by, a lot of our, what I would say is, our usual mundane that we do. कि ठीक है, आज घर जाके मेरे को सीरीज देखनी है, मेरे को कुछ टाइम पास करना है, इंस्टा पे जाना है, whatever XYZ. So using internet right, especially in these 2 critical years, is so important, that it can either make or break you. Simple. So there's so much content available, because people at the end, during exams, or when they actually need it at that point of time, they, during interviews, for example, एक दिन पहले रात को they'll sit and maybe then they make the right use of internet, but the train has already left. So आप कुछ भी कर लो. So I think this is a very impactful point. Should be kudos to you for making this. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. I think the next question that I have for all the aspirants, as well as someone who's seeking a job when they're pursuing MBA, is what are the interviewers typically looking at? I think Akash has been a part of corporate relations and placement cell in his time, and then Shilpi has been very close to the whole HR domain. What would you want to suggest, Shilpi, in this case, on what are the interviewers really looking at when they are taking the MBA interviews, as well as when interviewers are taking the job interviews?
Sure, sure. So it's a very good and relevant question. And since I have also got an opportunity to internally move into a different role, so I have seen both the external hiring process for Amazon and the internal hiring process for Amazon as well, and has done a few internships during MBA as well. So basis on all the experiences I have had, the one thing apart from all those technical interviews, HR interviews, all the questions are on the internet, but few different points I want to make is to focus on the behavioral part of it. That is the STAR framework that majority of, if you say that the FANG companies they follow. The situation, the task, and then the action and the result. So you should frame all the answers in this format. So make sure you do that, because these days the companies are ready to put money on you, on how to make you learn the tools or how to make you learn things, but they would want to know your approach of handling a particular thing, which would come when you will have a star in place, or the behavioral questions. How did you react? How did you manage a difficult situation? Or what was your most difficult customer? Or it can be, on those lines. They're all available on the internet. So I would say this one thing would be very important to get prepared for this, because this round can be a deal breaker for you. The other thing would be, have as many as transferable skills you can, add up in yourself. Not, I mean, I'm not saying that learn coding, or we are, moving into, for example, program management or product development is a new buzz thing, right? So people think that, okay, we need to be very well versed with the coding or tech. Okay, fine, you need to, but it's not required, right? So in that place, you can just go ahead and add some basic stuff in, like how to make the Gantt charts, how to use PowerPoint better, how to use Excel better. So I would say that for the interviews, make sure you have your hand brushed up on basic tools. That is the transferable skills. Have your behavioral questions ready. And the third thing would be very well versed by heart on your CV. कोई रात को सो के ऐसे आपको उठाए भी और पूछ ले सीवी में से कुछ भी, सो आप बोलना है वो वहां पर, इतना प्रिपेयर कर लो, एंड देन यू आर डन. Any interview you can crack.
Okay, that makes me jump to the last question for this video, to Akash. I think since you have been a part of the corporate and placement cell, and you have been a part of 2 companies since then, what do you think for a management student, what should be their ideology, or what should be their thinking process, or what are the gaps that you see in a management program in students, on what should they really focus on versus what are they really doing in those 2 years, right? So what are those gaps that you have seen till now, and then of course how do you bridge that gap as a management student?
Yeah, thanks Nikhil for this question. I think this is really a very good question and pretty relevant for all college goers of all posts, anyone for that matter. Like you're in undergrad or pursuing a postgrad, whatever. First point is I would make is to identify the difference between what and why. I think that is very crucial. So what are you doing? Okay. So you have already answered your question. What you want to do? You want to pursue a management program. Okay. From where you want to pursue, you've identified that answer. But when you actually go there, and what you are doing is something that people really forget, and they get into the flow of, okay, I have to finish this course, get a placement, get an internship, get a package, and leave. I'm sure 60-70% of the students must be thinking the same. But the moment you try to link what with why, as to why you're doing it, then it will really start making sense to you. Because unless and until you imbibe this culture right from day one of your college, you are not going to carry it forward once you actually start working outside. Okay. The only thing you will do is, okay, this is my job, this is my KRA, I am supposed to deliver X and I will deliver X, right? You know what you're supposed to do, you've done that, and that's it. But the moment you try to see, okay, why you're supposed to do that, you will maybe deliver more than what is being asked to you, because you'll start putting your mind to it, right? And I think we all 3 of us very well know that we had a professor who always kept telling us that you are paid to think. As simple as that, right? And that actually makes a lot of sense, because the only reason, or rather, you'll understand why you're being paid is when you answer the why of it, because you start thinking then. So I think that is one gap, one very critical gap, which I believe that exists in any given college, and students should start really addressing this gap.
No, I think that's great. If you start answering these questions, and for those who have watched this video till this point, I would really recommend you to just at least take notes, or just watch this video again, because this has been helpful for me as well in the last 30 minutes on what the both of them have brought as their perspective, or the points that should help you. So if you're an aspirant, you should be very clear on why you're doing an MBA and what are you going to do in life after that. If you're not, probably you should start exploring more. And then in case you're already in MBA and you're watching this video, I think then probably Akash and Shilpi have already said enough on what you should be really doing, or what you should be really exploring to have an edge over the others. I think on that note, this has been very, very good for the aspirants, and of course for me. As I said, this is very helpful. Thank you so much, Shilpi, Akash, for taking out time and helping us, all of us, be a better employee, be a better aspirant, or learn something new today. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate.
Thanks very much. I think kudos to you, because you are doing a fantastic job, especially for so many aspirants out there. Because I remember before starting off a college, it becomes very essential that we have the right answers. So I think you are helping people out and trying to make a small difference that you can. So I think it's critical. So thanks to you for having me.